slide all up in here. Yeah. So, fun fact. This is my first time in a GTO. Third time in a GTO? Yours? Yeah. So Jay's gonna give us.
So this is the door.
That's the door
Handle. Mirror.
carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber. I think it's just plastic. This comes out every time I hit 60 mile an hour,
Okay.
and then just starts making a little, playing some music for me.
A little whistly boy.
Yeah. So there's a lot of work that goes into keeping one of these cars. It's not ancient by any means, but a lot of little piddly stuff that needs replacing. I'm going to come in here and clean this up as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of little projects, but let's take a peek inside
Let's do it.
because it's pretty.
It's so.
Of course,
clean,
we didn't clean
dude.
this out before, but yeah, there's a bunch of shipping paperwork back here. Oh yeah, some tape.
It's fine. It's fine. It's such a clean car, dude. Like, and that's not a single crack on that dash. Not a single crack.
Don't jinx me like that.
Well, it's a great looking car, dude. And it's just they did such a good job just having it stock. Like, are these stock seats?
Yeah.
No way, dude. Look at that.
Yeah, pretty much everything in there is factory except for the boost gauge and the air fuel ratio gauge.
It's so clean. Like, yeah.
Maybe that shifter. Yeah, that shifter's not
so
stock.
nice, dude. I'm just gonna touch it. It's gonna crumble. Don't blame me. It's fine. Let's go take a look at that driver's side. It's such a good looking car. And that's the thing too about the R32, dude. It's just, it's such a timeless, good looking car.
Probably should have washed it.
It's fine. How many hours do you have in this car?
I mean, a lot.
Do you think? Like, were you dailying this back in England?
No, I didn't daily. I dailied the S15.
Oh, that's right. That's another thing too. When does that get imported? 26?
Yeah.
Ugh, I gotta wait for a whole year for that thing. It's so clean, man. There's like not even a stain on any of these seats.
Yeah, anybody who's ever spilled anything in this car is buried in a ditch somewhere.
That's right. That's why I didn't take my drink with me earlier.
Wise.
I was like, yeah, I could take my Celsius with me, or I could just not die. Have you done any like body work to it or anything like that, or was that was that something that was already done?
Yeah. So on both sides, I won't say I did because I can't do body work to save my life, but my buddy Damien at DI Racing, thank you. He went in there, cut out. So originally when we got the car, you can see like there's a bunch of spacers or space in between. A lot of Japanese cars, the panels don't line up perfectly most of the time. But yeah, I mean, this giant gap is not ideal, but it's a hell of a lot better than what was going on before. There was just a lot of green filler from Japan where they tried to cover up a bunch of rust underneath the car. So we went in there, took out all that, and then Damien went and cut the metal out and then welded in new plate steel across the bottom. I don't think there's a real good spot to actually film it. Even if we got a light, you can't really tell. He did such a good job that it doesn't really show.
If it's hard to see the work, then I guess it's a good job, right?
Oh, he crushed it. And then went back and repainted.
Does he have like a YouTube channel?
I don't think he has a YouTube channel. But yeah,
you have an Instagram or something like that?
I don't. I'll get back to you. I'll let you know.
Yeah, most
What
definitely.
he's
Because
got.
if we can, then I would love to include him. Like, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, is this badge? Is that exclusive to this model of car, or because that's like the old school badge from like the 70s, right?
Yeah. I can't remember if that is just on GTRs. I don't think it is.
Want to pop the old hoodskis for me? Grab it. So you mentioned earlier that these come with different turbos than the standard GTR.
Yeah, don't quiz me.
don't quiz me.
So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things about the N1 that we're not exactly sure about. You can go and look on, a bunch of different websites. Wikipedia is going to give you a different answer for what goes into an N1 across the board. So I don't want to say no one knows. I'm sure someone knows, but sure ain't me.
It ain't me either, big dog. It ain't me either.
Yeah, I mean, I should have done some homework before you started asking me about the badges and stuff, because everybody online is going to be like, "Man, this guy doesn't know shit about
That's
Skylines.
okay.
He's got one."
I can cut it. I can cut it out. It's fine.
Yeah,
We'll cut that part out.
used to know. Used to nerd out on all of this stuff, but yeah, other things have taken precedence in my life.
Yeah,
lately.
like a job.
Yeah, the job.
It's fine. Did you guys do anything inside the engine bay at all, or is it kept mostly the way it was when you bought it?
So you try to keep it as stock as possible. Literally, like everything down to like the intakes came from Japan, where they kind of look like shit. They need a good clean, but basically just went through the car and made sure everything was good. So did a leak down test, compression tests. When I bought the car, it felt very slow. So we installed the boost gauge, and it was sitting right at like 7 psi or 8 psi, I can't remember which. So the old boost controller had failed. So new boost controller, installed that, and then once we got everything like working, and new belts, all the standard stuff, oil, fluids, you name it. Just started driving it for a while, and then wanted to tune it. And so buddy took it to a tuner. It was also during, towards the end of COVID, but the tuner lived in Germany and was going to make a trip out here, but couldn't because of COVID. So we drove around with a laptop and did our own data logging for him, and called him on the phone, and basically had it tuned in real time over the internet.
Like remote tuning, pretty much.
Remote tuned.
That's really cool. Yeah, what a time! What a time we live in. That's awesome, dude. It's such a good looking car. I know I keep saying that, but I'm just, it's so good.
So professional.
It's works. It's fine. It's fine. Just a good old RB26, man.
Yeah.
Like, and that's you don't have to do a lot to the way these engines come to enjoy it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to pull this motor out, put all these forged internals in, and all this extra stuff. You don't have to cam it. You don't have to do all that for the car to just be completely enjoyable and like a good performance car.
I took it to a car show in England, and popped the hood and was showing it off. And it was, I was actually on my way back to like grab my jacket or something. I wasn't even I was going to look at the cars, not show mine off. I was kind of in the corner, and came back, and there was a couple of people around it, and they were asking about it. So I popped the hood, started showing them, and it was like a little kid who like came over and found this part. He goes, "This is crappy." Oh, and I was like, you know what? It's a driver's car, kid. Like it's not a purpose-built race car. So I kept it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
That kid's never seen a race car before. It's every race car I've ever seen.
there were plenty of race cars at the show.
They
you
have
know,
duct tape on
that
it.
looked like, like tucked engine bay, looked just immaculate.
Yeah.
And he's like, "What is this garbage?" But no, he loved the car. He, I had him go sit in the driver's seat and fired it up for him. He loved it.
That's so cool, man.
Hey guys, sorry to interrupt the video. This is our brand new YouTube channel. If you like this kind of stuff, if you're interested in old cars, JDM, that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button. We're going to be doing a lot more stuff. And I hope you guys can all join me for that. So with that, back to the video. Thanks a lot, guys.
Why are you taller than me? I hate this.
I did that on purpose.
You're a monster.
I did that on purpose.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, but it's like my feet are barely touching the ground, and your like knees are up by your fucking. Hey guys, this is Nick Relic Motors. This is gonna be our first video for YouTube. This is my partner Dre here. He's the face of the JDM portion, the JDM division of Relic Motors. What we have here today is his Nissan Skyline R32 GTR, as you can see.
It's the first truthful thing he said.
That's true. Not important. Not important. So what we're going to talk about today, how Dre came to own the Skyline, what interests him about this car, what's special about it, all that kind of stuff. So why did you choose the R32? What about the R32 is appealing to you?
I didn't. Chose me.
The correct answer.
So yeah, I mean, like, I feel like everyone who's ever been in love with the Skyline probably started when they were a little kid playing Gran Turismo, and then Gran Turismo 2.
Or watching Fast and Furious.
Sure. I think I'm gonna show my age here a little bit, but it took. I think I was like I don't remember exactly when Fast and Furious came out, but
yeah,
I feel like I had already driven a car. Like I was already like.
It's 2001.
I didn't like grow up with it. You know,
Right.
I was like, I think I had my driver's license by the time it came out. And not to say it wasn't, a huge impact because, in high school.
I was 11 when it came out. He was 38.
Okay. It's like 15. But yeah, I mean, even then, you kind of knew that if you were into the car culture, you knew that Fast and Furious wasn't accurate.
Right.
So it wasn't necessarily like gospel that had they made that movie like actual car guy realistic, I think we all it would have a very different following.
It'd be a lot longer of a movie because it just would have been a series of them fixing broken cars.
It would actually never leave a garage.
Never.
Yeah.
Like we did one pull, we're going to be in the shop for another 6 months. It's fine. No, we built a Supra in 3 days.
Yeah. It's like a 7-second montage, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like fucking. This is your car.
Took me 2 years.
2JZ engine. No shit. Give me 3 days and it'll be done.
Took me 2 years to change the water pump on that thing. Yeah, because like in real life, when you have, life and responsibilities, I think you end up. Your repair time is in seasons. It's like, you know what? This is going to be ready next year. This is going to be ready for.
You're being generous. Next year.
Yeah, I wish we could just we should probably do one of these on each of the cars. We can talk about how much time it's spent.
Yes.
Not moving.
Most of it, in fact. Most of the time.
Yeah, honestly, like this car, I haven't had any problems with it. It's, I mean, I won't say any. I've had the least amount of problems of all the cars I've ever owned.
Okay.
But I also, when I was driving this to work, I took it to work probably like once a week. And then I took it to the track. Immediately had problems.
It was not happy with you.
I mean, that's kind of how I found out about its rear wheel steering hiccups. And like, there's a reason why people get rid of it in these cars.
Hiccups hiccups?
Hiccups? Yeah, a little hiccup.
Well, why are you choosing to keep it rather than delete it like most people do?
Because I want the car as original as possible. Yeah. I want this to drive
That's what we're doing.
like a 1990 Skyline.
Right.
And that said, like I know what I'm buying. I'm jumping into a hell of a lot more work for myself.
Right.
To keep it as original as possible. And also I'm kind of cutting myself out of some of the fun. I mean, we rode in the car today, so you realize like it's not the fastest car. It's quick.
It's pretty fast.
But it's not.
Okay, well, I mean, like, I mean, that's touching on what people's standards today are of
Sure.
fast. Like,
Yeah.
fast at the minimum is like, oh, you're pushing 900,000 horsepower. That's fast.
Yeah.
But who's driving? Well, some people are daily driving 1,000 horsepower cars. It's not me,
Not me.
but it's a fast car.
Yeah. I mean, sure. It's like fun. It's a
Yeah.
fun car.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not going to go to the drag strip and, racing people for pinks in this thing. It's, it's maybe a little bit over stock, but then you subtract the 30 years it's been on Earth, it's somewhere probably back to stock horsepower.
Yeah.
But then, you throw one of these into an S chassis or something like that, you automatically have like 500 horsepower on tap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of the standard nowadays, is driving around in a naturally aspirated car that will eat your twin turbo alive.
Yeah. But it doesn't sound as cool.
Arguable, but yeah. I mean, I'm in love with the inline six.
Mm-hmm.
If you couldn't tell.
Yeah, no, I
got a few of them.
I agree. Yeah, we will show you how many other cars this fucking maniac has.
Yes.
At another point in time. How did you come to own this car specifically? Like, were you looking around online?
Yeah, I wanted to buy an R32.
Okay, so you're looking specifically for an R32.
R32. Honestly, I wanted a V-spec. This is before the prices just went through the roof.
So what year did you find this car?
2019.
Okay,
I'd say.
right.
The prices were already going up, but yeah, it wasn't one of the ones that was like, living in Japan and bought it for $8,000 or anything like that.
Right.
But talked to an importer, and they had a car that they were importing, and yeah, I mean, I think originally like that buyer was falling through when they had already started the process, so it was an easy kind of jump in. But part of, I guess, the previous deal was the car was going through a restoration before.
Oh, okay.
Kind of made it cheaper for me, I guess, because like the deal that was done before for the car, I kind of got grandfathered into. So I didn't spend, I think in the end, like the importer was realizing like they had already done the paperwork. It had been bought at auction. It had already gotten some of the work done. So like the clutch that was going in was already done in Japan.
And what kind of clutch do you have in this one?
An Ogura twin clutch, twin putt, which I honestly, like, I wouldn't choose again. Had I
wouldn't?
No, had I do it all over again. I mean, it's chatty, it's noisy.
Yeah.
Every time you hit the clutch, it's ringing, it's chattering. A lot of this car talks to you, but I also like that about it.
She's sassy.
Yeah.
So you found it on auction. You kind of got grandfathered into the deal.
So it had already been bought at auction.
Right. Oh, okay. And then the buyer backed out?
Oh, I don't know the whole story, but from what I've been able to glean from the importer, does it sound like the car was on its way, and do I want it?
Yeah.
Because even when it got there, they're going to do a bunch of work to it
this way
as well.
Sorry. You keep like moving further out of frame. Just fucking, it's gonna like, we're gonna like cut between bits of the conversation. You're just gonna be going like boop 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 boop, like further back.
But yeah, I mean, I think what I've been able to piece together, that the car made it to European shores, and then had more of the planned work, and I kind of got it in between.
I see.
That.
Okay.
And so when I test drove it for the first time, I was like, hey, why isn't, it was just strange, some of the things that had been done and what hadn't been, and little piddly stuff. I'm like, how come the brakes aren't brand new and you just put a new clutch in there? And they're like, oh yeah, I'm like, show me the old deal. So I got to see basically the finished product, and it came on decent wheels. These are put on by me later on. But everything about the car I liked it. The clutch took some learning,
I had no idea about that clutch.
Well,
like-
I'd never driven a twin puck.
Yeah.
Like I haven't been to the track a whole lot. Like I've been a couple of times, but like I'm not like a race car driver by any means. I'm like trying to like learn how to drive a race clutch
Yeah.
for the first time. Everything I've ever built was meant to be a streetable, fun car. And then like, oh yeah, we just threw a race clutch in here. You're welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, and it's cool, but like I feel like this, just the way it drives, like it clearly was meant for more horsepower, and it's got a little bit above stock boost.
Well, it's kind of like there's like that old adage about Porsches: you either drive them slow and rough or fast and smooth.
Yeah, this car wants to be wound out. It doesn't want a granny shift.
Right.
It doesn't want a nice slow launch. This was clearly like on its way to being built to be beat up on.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of glad that I got it before that. But if I could go back and change anything, I would probably, and like I'm kind of on the fence too. Like I kind of like the clutch now, but at first I did not. I was kind of like why'd you do this? This is a waste of money, but it wasn't my money, so can't really argue with it.
Well, what do you like about it now that you've gotten used to it?
I think because I'm so used to it, like I'm used to just like that off on, just a clutch kick is nothing. It's just,
yeah, because this thing grabs.
oh yeah, like that much play in the clutch.
Yeah.
And it's just full bite. Let's go.
Yeah.
And I like it. Like it just, the exhaust sound is very quiet and like reserved for an RB. It's just, I don't know why, but it seems like whenever I build an RB, and I didn't build this one, but any of the RBs that I've owned, they're like the quietest RBs on the planet. Like I'm always watching those YouTube videos and I'm like, oh yeah, one RB. It's gonna sound like a rape tape. It's gonna be awesome. And instead I get this like
the soft spoken RB.
Yeah, like even the I mean you heard the blow off in this.
Yeah.
It's just like sounds like a cat fart. It's like you can't even tell.
You don't get the
No, none of that. Which is good. I mean, obviously that's compressor surge and not great for the turbos.
It's fine.
But I love it. I think, you're lying to yourself if you don't.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so you got the car 2019. Was that when you started the import or when you bought it?
I ended up getting it delivered in 2020.
Okay.
I got delivered to work, and me and my buddy Crow went out to go pick it up outside the gates, and
Yeah.
it was great. Just best day of my life.
I think if I got an R32, it'd probably also be the best day of my life. Someday. It's fine. It's fine. Tell me about this specific model of car. So this is an N1.
It's an N1.
Tell me what that means.
So originally I wasn't looking for an N1. I wanted a V-Spec. I was a huge Skyline nerd, so I kind of knew like all the different trims and what they were. And when I'd been saving up for a long time to try and buy a Skyline. I wanted my dream car finally.
Yeah.
And I was very close to getting it. And then saw the prices and I was like, oh, maybe I'm not going to get one of the trims that I dreamt of. All these, the one that I had in Gran Turismo 2. And you kind of, everything's kind of like it's just what happened to be available. So of all the cars and all the different importers I was looking at and auction houses in Japan, there was a lot of options. There was a ton of options. But I really was set on a GTR. So for a long time, the prices for, an RB20 or 25 car were much more doable. Now they're starting to go up again. So there's no way I would find this car again. But N1s, especially R32s, like they're not known. So just for everyone's information, N1, if you don't know, is the homologation race car version of the Skyline. So there's regular N1s, there's V-Spec N1s, and there's V-Spec 2 N1s. But I think regular N1s there were only 118 ever made for the R32.
Okay.
So
Is this one of those?
This is one of this is a standard, not a B spec, not a B spec 2.
So this is one of 118.
One of 118. And don't quote me on that. Like I have to go back and look.
I'm gonna quote you on that.
Okay. Well, I think GTR Registry would be your friend.
Quoted.
But I couldn't tell you what the N1 buys you is they do not come with a stereo.
Okay.
There was a factory option if you wanted air conditioning, but most of them didn't come with air conditioning unless the original buyer.
So this is about as close to like a race car from the factory.
Yeah. No rear wiper, and then thinner coat of paint, and they only came in white.
Okay.
So that's
like it's almost a track ready car.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of stuff with the engine, different turbochargers, all that stuff. So it's yeah, I mean, the whole point of the homologation system was that you can go and it had to be a factory spec car that you raced in Japanese touring car, or name your, at the time, just Japanese racing, but then Australian racing. But to have a factory spec, you had to have a homologation race car or a homologation car to have a race car. So they built N1s as the homologation car. And I think you have to build 100, at least back then, back in the 90s, to have it a factory spec.
Right.
And they have to be available to the public.
Right. So it doesn't count as a stock car unless it's available in a certain capacity, right?
Yeah, it has to be your. If you're going to call it factory spec, factory has to sell it
right
to the buyer.
So they basically made the bare minimum for that to make it
Yeah,
qualify
and like
for that class.
All car companies did.
Right. No, but
That
that's
was,
hilarious.
Like, the thing.
And one of them ended up being yours. How cool is that, dude?
Hard to believe.
I love this thing. And so for everybody else's knowledge, I knew when he was getting this car back in 2019, 2020, but it has been in England up until 2 months ago.
Yeah.
So I've been looking forward to getting to know this car for a very long time. And now we get to sit here and talk about it. And it's a beautiful machine. And it is, don't let him fool you. This car is fast. Like, maybe it's fast to me because I drive a Volkswagen all the time, but anything's fast compared to, like, I have an 80 horsepower Volkswagen bus. Everything's fast to me. A Camry is fast to me. But this thing is like, this is a little rocket ship, dude. Like, it moves, man. Don't sell this car short, dude.
No, I don't. I mean, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a quick car.
So the Nismo wheels you didn't have originally on the car?
No.
Okay. How did those come onto the car? Was that something that would have come on the car from the factory?
I mean, the standard wheels that come on there are LMGT4s.
Okay.
These are the re-release. Basically, they came in like 17s or 16s and 17s, were like I think was the OG size from the factory wheel.
Okay.
And then they re-released the wheels a few
cool.
years ago. So
was this a model of wheel that you had like foreseen yourself putting on the car?
Well, I always wanted the stock wheels, to be honest. And when the car didn't come with them, I was like, it sucks, but I'll just buy some. Wrong. Turns out, if you find them,
narrator, you will not buy some.
You will not. They are actually very expensive. I don't know, and like, I'm a real slut for some JDM wheels, but
yeah, buddy.
Also, it's more expensive than crack. I decided.
Although it lasts longer than crack.
It depends how you drive.
That's fair.
I have a bunch of JDM wheels. They are fucked up. Some by me, some not by me. None of them were unscathed.
And not good for crack, apparently. Who knew? That's really cool, man. So what are your future plans with this car? I mean, like, it's essentially, for what it is, it's stock.
Yeah, it's very close to stock. It's got a,
which I approve of, by the way. I should clarify.
Good.
Like,
good. That's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Just needed your validation.
Fuck you. But I mean, I'm just like, cars that come from the factory in a specific type of way. Like, obviously, I'm pro modifying cars. Like, I like hot rods. I like highly modified tuner cars. Top fuel drag, like all that stuff. I love all that stuff. But if you get something like this, like this is a rare car. There's less than 200 of these made. They only came in one color. There's specific things about it that make it rare, and it's in phenomenal shape, especially for its age. Like all those things that add up make it a fairly rare car. And I would hate to see somebody cut something like this up, you know, like doing whatever they were doing to it, or like take this car and make it a drift car. Like, yeah, it's a great chassis for drifting, but there's plenty of other R32s out there that aren't an N1 R32. You know what I mean? So I'm happy to see that it's being very well kept in just the way.
And honestly,
it is.
even if it wasn't an N1, even if it was, you know, just a bone stock GTR, I would have been happy with buying one of those as well.
Yeah.
This one just happened to fall in my lap, and it was a, you know, a good deal. I was looking at a lot of other cars at the same time, but
yeah,
I think no matter what, if I had bought whatever, I wouldn't mess with it. I would try and make it as stock as, or keep it as stock as possible.
yeah, I agree.
I've always wanted one of these cars, but not really to modify, to just see what it's like to drive.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
my dream car from the 90s, but it has to still be my dream car from the 90s.
exactly. Yeah,
So yeah, I mean, and like, no disrespect for anybody who's going to make one of these 1,000 horsepower. Like, that's cool.
totally cool.
Totally cool. Just not for me. Like, I
Right.
want to drive this car. I want to own it for a long time.
You think this is a forever car for you?
I know it is.
Yeah.
They're going to fucking bury me in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or shoot me into the sun.
Elon Musk, get on that. We need to launch a Skyline into the sun
With my dead body inside.
with small details, semantics.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not sure what.
Well, if you
the
get
laws
launched
are.
into space and they can't send the Skyline, I get the Skyline. It's for me.
Then the missile turns around.
Your body missile turns around and
We die together.
best friends forever.
Die together. Die together.
You son of a bitch. That's really cool, man.
Pre-recorded message that calls your phone.
So, I already kind of asked this question, but I'm going to ask again because I feel like I didn't navigate it super well. What are your plans for this car? Like, what do you foresee yourself doing to it?
Fix
Sure. Yeah.
the oil leak.
Fix an oil leak. I know
The
we have
HICAS.
the HICAS system issue. That's another thing too. Like we were talking about earlier, is like a lot of people delete the HICAS system, but like you said,
Yeah.
like I think that you are the same way that I am, pro modifying, but also like there's a big part of me that's very much a purist, and
Yeah.
I want to experience the vehicle the way it was engineered to be experienced. So
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
and that doesn't matter like what time period it's from. So like I've got cars from the 40s, and people are like, oh, why don't you put
Restom on it.
why don't you put disc brakes in it? Why don't you, do
Put a
this? Why don't you do
DVD
this?
player
I'm
in
like,
it.
I could do that, but that kind of defeats the purpose of driving the car. Like, if I wanted a car that did all those things, I would get a car that was made with all those things. I'm driving a car from the 40s because I want to experience the driving experience, of driving a car from the 40s, as
Sure.
it was engineered to be experienced. So like the R32 with the HICAS system, again, super common delete. It was designed to have the HICAS system, and arguably is part of what made it so effective on the racetrack
Oh yeah, it was
when it
mean.
came out. Like it dominated like what? Again, don't quote me on this, but there was like 23 series that it entered in like 91, 92, and it won all 23 series.
Yeah, I don't remember the exact number. But
Yeah.
there was races where it was, 3 Skylines entered. They won first, second, and third.
Yeah. Well, and like not just the tuning of the RB26 and the twin turbo and all that stuff, but like the all-wheel drive and the HICAS system inarguably contributed to gaining the reputation of Godzilla.
Oh, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just shredded the track. It was.
Yeah. Again, if you want to delete your HICAS system, I don't care. I just think it's cool. Don't do it, you son of a bitch.
If you do delete it, send it to me so I can just try and swap them out.
Yeah, so we can have spares. So we can not break one.
Yeah. I actually did try and get a couple. I thought it was going to be a throwaway part, so I started asking around on the forums and stuff. Like, you have their HICAS, like, want to get rid of for their R32? Everyone's quoting me like $900 for the set, $550. I'm like, thought this was throwaway. Like confirm this is just taking up space in your garage.
Well, I feel like it's if you don't want it, it's throwaway. But if you do want it, they know that you're gonna pay for it. So that's
Give me your paperweight that you're never going to get rid of in your garage. I'm the only person in the entire fucking world that wants one. I'm never going to sell it. Just give it to me. I'll pay for the shipping.
We want a Hicus, an extra Hicus. Send it on over. Relic Motors,
And
United States of America.
yeah, any weather stripping or anything like that, I'll take it. Oh, so you know about the Nissan Heritage Center?
Yes.
So yeah, you can buy all the, not all the stuff, but a lot of the parts of these cars are getting remanufactured.
Exactly. Oh my God, that's so cool. That's such a neat thing that Nissan's doing. And it shows like, that's part of the reason why not just these cars, but just car culture in general is so deeply cared for and cared about by the people that are involved in it. You know what I mean? Like there's arguably not a lot of profit to be made from the Nissan Heritage program. Like I'm sure they're going to make some money,
Charge
right?
a lot of fucking money.
I'm sure that they do, right? But that money could also be used to just sell new cars that are going to sell, you know? Like it's what I'm trying to say is it's not something that they have to do. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
I mean, I don't know. I'd be surprised if Nissan's around in 20 years.
I would be surprised if Nissan's around in 2, because did you hear about Honda and Nissan merging?
I did not.
Yeah, there's like these big talks about Honda and Nissan merging in like the next year or 2.
Yeah, I mean, makes sense because
Now
I don't know how. I see the Nissans that are coming out nowadays. There's no way.
Yeah. Well, I also don't know that that necessarily means that the brand of Honda and the brand of Nissan are going to go away, or if they're just going to be owned under the same umbrella.
I assume that it would be like most of those car mergers, you know, they'd take whatever's profitable and they'd still continue the line.
Yeah.
You know, like most car companies are owned by some other car company.
Yeah.
Is it like Fiat owns most car companies now?
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. I think it's Peugeot or something. Don't quote me on this. There's another company that owns like 30% of Honda. And it's like Peugeot or Fiat or some shit like that. I will go back and I will confirm who it is and I'll put it up here.
Someone's going to put a comment, fact check you.
You're like, I left my glasses in the car. Actually, yeah. But there's talks about Nissan and Honda merging.